panda, panda, panda. I got broads in Atlanta, just to be in the family. Credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van. Legacies, family, wait and see, look like a panda. Going out like a Montana, 100 killers on their hands. Legacies, family, wait and see, family. Pockets full, Danny, selling ball, candy. Been on the macho like Randy, the chopper go out for granted. This nigga pull up your bandit, hope the killers understand it. I got broads in Atlanta, just to be in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, hitting the licks in the van. Legacy, family, wait and see, look like a family. Going out like a Montana, 100 killers on their hands. Legacy, family, wait and see, family. Nuggets full, Danny, selling ball, candy. Been on the macho like Randy, the chopper go out for granted. This nigga pull up your bandit, hope the killers understand it. Hey! Panda, 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 panda. I got broads in Atlanta, twisted up lean and shit, sippin' fountain. Credit cards and the scammers, wake up beside shit, let designer, whole bunch of ladder shit. They be acting rats, I don't be clever shit. I be putting myself in the family shit. I got plenty just up with Bugatti, but look how I track shit. Legacies, family, ways to killing no count. Pop a perk, I got Sonic Gorilla, they come and kill you with bananas. For feelings, I feel it, pull up in the fountain. No niggas, they come and kill you on the counter. The rollie is dancing bigger than the pound. Go out to the Grammy, but pull up your pound, pull up, I'ma flip it. I got bitches pull up and they get it. I got niggas that's counting for digits. Say you make you a lot of money. No killers pull up in the end, baby. CTD pull up in the killer, baby. Call up, fill it, pull up, gon' feel it, baby. Niggas up in the baby, gon' drill it, baby. My people kill it, they get it. I got broads, yeah, I get it. I got cars, yeah, shit it. This how I live. Did it all for a ticket. I play the bonds when he spinning the bottom, he trending. Shut the dawn, doing business in the break, fucking up shit, she doing the feeling. I begin to the chicken, count to the chicken, and all of my niggas is split.
I can feel my face, but only when I'm with you. Please forgive me. When I lose control, it's only 'cause I miss you. Please forgive me. Tell me what you need when you whisper late at night. Once in a while, I'm digging through the scars that we failed to heal, and once in a while, I'm digging through the stars. So please go back to sleep.
Every time I come around, then I can't get it good.
Ocean close, where we used to go. Dream about it once in a while. My eyes are closed and I lose control. There's nowhere to rush, nowhere to run. Coming undone. Once in a while, I'm digging through the scars that we failed to heal, and once in a while, I'm digging through the stars. So please go back to sleep.
Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. So come be merry with me. Yeah. Oh, come be merry with me. Come on, be merry with me. Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. Well, hello there. You gambled all your flips? Oh, thank you. As I've said before, I did put a lot of effort into that one. Hey Coleman, how goes it, dude? I'm so happy you're here, man. And I'm sorry that the stream is so late. But I had work today. It was a pretty long day, actually. I had had a family therapy session that didn't actually happen. My parents forgot about it. No, wait, sorry, they didn't forget. They did not forget. They wound up being busier than they'd anticipated. They were gonna join the call from the car, but they didn't get their stuff done fast enough. So it was just me and Louis. I'll call him Louis. I won't give you his actual name, but I'll call him Louis. So that was this morning, and then I had some lunch, and then I went over to coach a preschool class, and then read a book for a little bit. Although I was just reading the intro. You know that like the preface part of it? Is that what it's called? I think so. The preface, where it just kind of chats about the writer himself, H.G. Wells. Interesting guy. Apparently he was into the idea that it's natural for like people to feel as though certain races are inferior. Mind you, this is not my own views. This is H.G. Wells, and I'm paraphrasing, so don't, if you actually want the whole story, pick up. I read it from the War of the Worlds, I believe. Hang on, I actually have the book. One sec. Will simply show you. Yeah, I was right. The War of the Worlds. This is a classic piece of sci-fi literature. Really good book. I've heard tell. I've yet to get past the preface though. But yeah, he was an interesting chap. Apparently, like, isolated himself off a bit and had a ridiculous like writing schedule. Like, that man took his writing professionally, and very seriously. Yet he did a lot of allegory type stuff where he'll he'll write fiction, but it reflects the times it reflects, you know, the time period that he was in, right after the First World War, and then you know, quickly leading into the second one. I think I've read some H.G. Wells for a few classes, but I don't remember which ones. Oh, Time Machine. Yeah, I believe I've heard that one is a really good one. And it was spoken of in that preface that I was reading in between the classes that I coach. But I have not read that one either. I also, what I did get excited about though is he has a collection of short stories, and I'm quite excited about that one actually. I'm gonna look into it, see if I can acquire said short story the grouping, and maybe read a couple of them for Sci-Fi Saturday, because H.G. Wells is quite the writer. He has gone down in history as quite the writer of sci-fi. I do apologize. I'm finishing a banana. No need to apologize. What am I saying? I'm finishing a banana. This is how it is. No doubt about it. I may just set it down though and finish it later, but it's nice and cool. I put it in the refrigerator for a little bit. Do people like bananas cold or hot? I guess either way. I've had a hot banana before. It was pretty good. That makes it more desserty, I think. I also have a grape seltzer. It's quite nice. Anyone ever had Waterloo? Sponsor me. Nah, solid sparkling water. I'd say it's as good as the. Did you guys ever have the Aquafina? I think made them. The Aquafina sparkling waters, or no, flavored waters. Those were like actual tasty darn things. These ones are kind of just like there's a hint of grape in there, but do you guys remember those, the flavored waters? I guess they still have those technically, but for some reason I have like the memory of it from childhood. I don't take them out of the fridge typically, but I don't have them hot ever either. Well, maybe it's time to try a hot banana. Wink. Sorry. Yeah, I'll at least take one more bite of said banana before we get going here. Nom nom nom. But yeah, let me see if I can find where it said in H.G. Wells' preface here. About his feelings on... Yeah, check it out. This is like taken from one of his writings. And how will the new republic treat the inferior races? How will it deal with the black? How will it deal with the yellow man? How will it tackle the alleged termite in the civilized woodwork? The Jew. Certainly not as races at all. It will aim to establish, and it will at last, though probably only after a second century has passed, establish a world state with a common language and a common rule. It will, I have said, make the multiplication of those who fall behind a certain standard of social efficiency unpleasant and difficult. The Jew will probably lose much of his particularism, intermarry with Gentiles, and cease to be a physically distinct element in human affairs in a century or so. But much of his moral tradition will, I hope, never die. And for the rest, those swarms of black and brown and dirty white and yellow people who do not come into the new needs of efficiency? Well, the world is a world, not a charitable institution, and I take it they will have to go. That's from H.G. Wells. Mind you, I don't know like how deep his racism went, but that is a part of the preface that did kind of startle me. I was not aware that he had an outlook such as that, at least at one point in his life. But yeah, that's does not degrade his works, I don't think, at least in my opinion. But yeah, that was a thing from the preface. It doesn't only harken on that though. The preface does go over, the other, good sides to H.G. Wells. Heck yeah. Well, okay. I probably won't, delay any further. Don't want this one to go too late. Freud thought it was normal to want to have sex with your mom. Yeah, man. I don't doubt every writer has some kind of vice or some kind of misguided judgment in some way, at least from my perspective. Yeah, thanks for that, Coleman. I do appreciate that. He's not the only one. Certainly not alone in the in the misguidings, and they did come from a different time too. That's a big thing to consider. Well, are we all ready for some Percy Jackson? I know I certainly am. This will actually work out kind of well, because we have chapters enough to lead us into Thursday. If I do 2 tomorrow, if I do 2 tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll finish the book on Thursday. Quite exciting, right? I'll get through about 1 tonight. If we're really feeling it, though, I can read through to a second one as well, and then we just have 1 chapter left on Thursday, which could be interesting. But yeah, we are zooming through this book. Not even gonna lie. And I'm excited about that. That means we'll be moving on to the Sea of Monsters very soon. I believe by the week after this one. Well, let me pause the Cozy Vibes playlist and jump into this reading. So this is Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Chapter 13. I plunge to my death. We spent 2 days on the Amtrak train, heading west through hills, over rivers, past amber waves of grain. We weren't attacked once, but I didn't relax. I felt that we were traveling around in a display case, being watched from above and maybe from below, that something was waiting for the right opportunity. I tried to keep a low profile because my name and picture were splattered over the front pages of several East Coast newspapers. The Trenton Register News showed a photo taken by a tourist as I got off the Greyhound bus. I had a wild look in my eyes. My sword was a metallic blur in my hands. It might have been a baseball bat or a lacrosse stick. The picture's caption read, 12-year-old Percy Jackson, wanted for questioning in the Long Island disappearance of his mother 2 weeks ago. He's shown here fleeing from the bus where he accosted several elderly female passengers. The bus exploded on an East New Jersey roadside shortly after Jackson fled the scene. Based on eyewitness accounts, police believe the boy may be traveling with 2 teenage accomplices. His stepfather, Gabe Ugliano, has offered a cash reward for information leading to his capture. Don't worry, Annabeth told me. Mortal police could never find us. But she didn't sound so sure. The rest of the day, I spent alternately pacing the length of the train because I had a really hard time sitting still, or looking out the windows. Once, I spotted a family of centaurs galloping across a wheat field, bows at the ready as they hunted lunch. The little boy centaur, who was the size of a second grader on a pony, caught my eye and waved. I looked around the passenger car, but no one else had noticed. The adult riders all had their faces buried in laptop, computers, or magazines. Another time, toward evening, I saw something huge moving through the woods. I could have sworn it was a lion, except that lions don't live wild in America, and this thing was the size of a Hummer. Its fur glinted gold in the evening light. Then it leaped through the trees and was gone. Our reward money for returning Gladiola, the poodle, had only been enough to purchase tickets as far as Denver. We couldn't get berths in a sleeper car, so we dozed in our seats. My neck got stiff. I tried not to drool in my sleep since Annabeth was sitting right next to me. Grover kept snoring and bleating and waking me up. Once he shuffled around and his fake foot fell off. Annabeth and I had to stick it back on before any of the other passengers noticed. "So," Annabeth asked me, once we'd gotten Grover's sneaker readjusted, "who wants your help?" "What do you mean?" "When you were asleep just now, you mumbled, 'I won't help you.' Who were you dreaming about?" I was reluctant to say anything. It was the second time I dreamed about the evil voice from the pit. But it bothered me so much, I finally told her. Annabeth was quiet for a long time. "That doesn't sound like Hades. He always appears on a black throne, and he never laughs. He offered my mother in trade. Who else could do that? I guess if he meant help me rise from the underworld, if he wants war with the Olympians. But why ask you to bring him the Master Bolt if he already has it?" I shook my head, wishing I knew the answer. I thought about what Grover had told me, what the Furies on the bus seemed to have been looking for, something. "Where is it?" Hang on, I'm trying to bring back the demonic southern drawl. "Hey, y'all. Where is it? Where?" Maybe Grover sensed my emotions. He snorted in his sleep, muttered something about vegetables, and turned his head. Annabeth readjusted his cap so it covered his horns. "Percy, you can't barter with Hades. You know that, right? He's deceitful, heartless, and greedy. I don't care if his kindly ones weren't as aggressive this time." "This time?" I asked. "You mean you've run into them before?" Her hand crept up to her necklace. She fingered a glazed white bead painted with the image of a pine tree. One of her clay end-of-summer tokens. "Let's just say I've got no love for the Lord of Death. You can't be tempted to make a deal for your mom." "What would you do if it was your dad?" "That's easy," she said. "I'd leave him to rot." "You're not serious." Annabeth's gray eyes fixed on me. She wore the same expression she'd worn in the woods at camp, the moment she drew her sword against the hellhound. "My dad's resented me since the day I was born, Percy," she said. "He never wanted a baby. When he got me, He asked Athena to take me back and raise me on Olympus because he was too busy with work. She wasn't happy about that. She told him heroes had to be raised by their mortal parents. But how? I mean, I guess you weren't born in a hospital. I appeared on my father's doorstep in a golden cradle, carried down from Olympus by Zephyr, the west wind. You think my dad would remember that as a miracle, right? Like, maybe he'd take some digital photos or something, but he always talked about my arrival as if it were the most inconvenient thing that had ever happened to him. When I was 5, he got married and totally forgot about Athena. He got a regular mortal wife and had 2 regular mortal kids, and tried to pretend I didn't exist. I stared out the train window. The lights of a sleeping town were drifting by. I wanted to make Annabeth feel better, but I didn't know how. My mom married a really awful guy, I told her. Grover said she did it to protect me, to hide me in the scent of my human family. Maybe that's what your dad was thinking. Annabeth kept worrying at her necklace. Pardon me. She was pinching the gold college ring that hung with the beads. It occurred to me that the ring must be her father's. I wondered why she wore it if she hated him so much. He doesn't care about me, she said. His wife, my stepmom, treated me like a freak. She wouldn't let me play with her children. My dad went along with her. Whenever something dangerous happened, something with monsters, they would both look at me resentfully, like, how dare you put our family at risk? Finally, I took the hint. I wasn't wanted. I ran away. How old were you? Same age as when I started camp. 7. But you couldn't have gotten all the way to Half-Blood Hill by yourself. Not alone, no. Athena watched over me, guided me toward help. I made a couple of unexpected friends who took care of me, for a short time, anyway. I wanted to ask what happened, but Annabeth seemed lost in sad memories. So I listened to the sound of Grover snoring and gazed out the train window as the dark fields of Ohio raced by. Toward the end of our second day on the train, June 13th, 8 days before the summer solstice, we passed through some golden hills and over the Mississippi River into St. Louis. Annabeth craned her neck to see the gateway arch, which looked to me like a huge shopping bag handle stuck on the city. I want to do that, she sighed. What? I asked. Build something like that. You ever see the Pantheon? You ever see the Parthenon, Percy? Only in pictures. Someday, I'm going to see it in person. I'm going to build the greatest monument to the gods ever. Something that'll last 1,000 years. I laughed. You? An architect? I don't know why, but I found it funny. Just the idea of Annabeth trying to sit quietly and draw all day. Her cheeks flushed. Yes, an architect. Athena expects her children to create things, not just tear them down like a certain god of earthquakes I could mention. I watched the churning brown water of the Mississippi below. Sorry, Annabeth said. That was mean. Can't we work together a little? I pleaded. I mean, didn't Athena and Poseidon ever cooperate? Annabeth had to think about it. I guess The chariot, she said tentatively. My mom invented it, but Poseidon created horses out of the crests of waves, so they had to work together to make it complete. Then we can cooperate too, right? We rode into the city, Annabeth watching as the arch disappeared behind a hotel. I suppose, she said at last. We pulled into the Amtrak station downtown. The intercom told us we'd have a 3-hour delay. The intercom told us we'd have a 3-hour layover before departing for Denver. Grover stretched. Before he was even fully awake, he said, "Food." Come on, goat boy, Annabeth said. Sightseeing. Sightseeing? The Gateway Arch, she said. This may be my only chance to ride to the top. Are you coming or not? Grover and I exchanged looks. I wanted to say no, but I figured that if Annabeth was going, we couldn't very well let her go alone. Grover shrugged. As long as there's a snack bar, without monsters. The arch was about a mile from the train station. Late in the day, the lines to get in weren't that long. We threaded our way through the underground museum, looked at covered wagons and other junk from the 1800s. It wasn't all that thrilling, but Annabeth kept telling us interesting facts about how the arch was built, and Grover kept passing me jelly beans, so I was okay. I kept looking around, though, at the other people in line. You smell anything? I murmured to Grover. He took his nose out of the jelly bean bag long enough to sniff. Underground, he said distastefully. Underground air always smells like monsters. Probably doesn't mean anything. But something felt wrong to me. I had a feeling we shouldn't be here. Guys, I said, you know the gods' symbols of power? Annabeth had been in the middle of reading about the construction equipment used to build the arch, but she looked over. Yeah? Well, Haiti, Grover cleared his throat. We're in a public place. You mean our friend downstairs? Right, I said. Our friend way downstairs. Doesn't he have a hat like Annabeth's? You mean the Helm of Darkness, Annabeth said. Yeah, that's his symbol of power. I saw it next to his seat during the Winter Solstice Council meeting. He was there? I asked. She nodded. It's the only time he's allowed to visit Olympus. The darkest day of the year. But his helm is a lot more powerful than my invisibility hat, if what I've heard is true. It allows him to become darkness, Grover confirmed. He can melt into shadow or pass through walls. He can't be touched or seen or heard. And he can radiate fear so intense it can drive you insane or stop your heart. Why do you think all rational creatures fear the dark? But then, how do we know he's not here right now, watching us? I asked. Annabeth and Grover exchanged looks. We don't, Grover said. Thanks. That makes me feel a lot better, I said. Got any blue jelly beans left? I'd almost mastered my jumpy nerves when I saw the tiny little elevator car we were going to ride to the top of the arch. And I knew I was in trouble. I hated confined places. They make me nuts. We got shoehorned into the car with this big fat lady and her dog, a chihuahua with a rhinestone collar. I figured maybe the dog was a seeing eye chihuahua, because none of the guards said a word about it. We started going up inside the arch. I'd never been in an elevator that went in a curve, and my stomach wasn't too happy about it. "No parents?" the fat lady asked us. She had beady eyes, pointy, coffee-stained teeth, a floppy denim hat, and a denim dress that bulged so much she looked like a blue jelly bean blimp. "They're below," Annabeth told her. "Scared of heights." "Oh, poor darlings," the Chihuahua growled. The woman said, Now, Sonny, behave." The dog had beady eyes like its owner, intelligent and vicious. I said, "Sonny, is that his name?" "No," the lady told me. She smiled as if that cleared everything up. At the top of the arch, the observation deck reminded me of a tin can with carpeting. Rows of tiny windows looked out over the city on one side of the river. Rows of tiny windows looked out over the city on one side and the river on the other. The view was okay, but if there's anything I like less than confined spaces, it's a confined space 600 feet in the air. I was ready to go pretty quick. Annabeth kept talking about structural supports and how she would have made the windows bigger and designed a see-through floor, but probably could have stayed up there for hours. But luckily for me, the park ranger announced that the observation deck would be closing in a few minutes. I steered Grover and Annabeth toward the exit, loaded them into the elevator, and I was about to get in myself when I realized there were already 2 other tourists inside. No room for me. The park ranger said,
"Next car, sir."
"We'll get out," Annabeth said. "We'll wait with you." But that was going to mess everybody up and take even more time, so I said, "Nah, it's okay. I'll see you guys at the bottom." Grover and Annabeth both looked nervous, but they let the elevator door slide shut. Their car disappeared down the ramp. Now the only people left on the observation deck were me, a little boy with his parents, the park ranger, and the fat lady with her Chihuahua. I smiled uneasily at the fat lady, and she smiled back, her forked tongue flickering between her teeth. Wait a minute. Forked tongue? Before I could decide if I'd really seen that, her Chihuahua jumped down and started yapping at me. Now, Sonny," the lady said. "Does this look like a good time? We have all these nice people here." "Doggy!" said the little boy. "Look, a doggy!" His parents pulled him back. The Chihuahua bared his teeth at me, foam dripping from his black lips. "Well, son," the fat lady sighed, "if you insist." Ice started forming in my stomach. Did you just call that Chihuahua your son?" "Chimera, dear," the fat lady corrected. "Not a Chihuahua. It's an easy mistake to make." She rolled up her denim sleeves, revealing that the skin of her arms was scaly and green. When she smiled, I saw that her teeth were fangs. The pupils of her eyes were sideways slits, like a reptile's. The Chihuahua barked louder, and with each bark it grew. First to the size of a Doberman, then to a lion. The bark became a roar. The little boy screamed. His parents pulled him back toward the exit, straight into the park ranger, who stood paralyzed, gaping at the monster. The Chimera was now so tall, its back rubbed against the roof. It had the head of a lion, with a blood-caked mane, the body and hooves of a giant goat, and a serpent for a tail. A 10-foot-long diamond back growing right out of its shaggy behind. The rhinestone dog collar still hung around its neck, and the plate-sized dog tag was now easy to read. Chimera. Rabid, fire-breathing, poisonous. If found, please call Tartarus. Exit 954. I realized I hadn't even uncapped my sword. My hands were numb. I was 10 feet away from the chimera's bloody maw, and I knew that as soon as I moved, the creature would lunge. The snake lady made a hissing noise that might have been laughter.
Be honored, Percy Jackson. Lord Zeus rarely allows me to test a hero with one of my brood. For I am the mother of monsters, the terrible Echidna.
I stared at her. All I could think to say was, "Isn't that a kind of anteater?" She howled, her reptilian face turning brown and green with rage.
I hate it when people say that. I hate Australia. Naming that ridiculous animal after me. For that, Percy Jackson, my son shall destroy you.
The chimera charged, its lion teeth gnashing. I managed to leap aside and dodge the bite. I ended up next to the family and the park ranger, who were all screaming now, trying to pry open the emergency exit doors. I couldn't let them get hurt. I uncapped my sword, ran to the other side of the deck, and yelled, "Hey, Chihuahua!" The chimera turned faster than I would have thought possible. Before I could swing my sword, it opened its mouth, emitting a stench like the world's largest barbecue pit, and shot a column of flame straight toward me. I dove through the explosion. The carpet burst into flames. The heat was so intense, it nearly seared off my eyebrows. Where I had been standing a moment before was a ragged hole in the side of the arch, with melted metal steaming around the edges. Great, I thought. We just blowtorched a national monument. Riptide was now a shining bronze blade in my hand, and as the chimera turned, I slashed at its neck. That was my fatal mistake. The blade sparked harmlessly off the dog collar. I tried to regain my balance, but I was so worried about defending myself against the fiery lion's mouth, I completely forgot about the serpent tail until it whipped around and sank its fangs into my calf. My whole leg was on fire. I tried to jab Riptide into the chimera's mouth, but the serpent tail wrapped around my ankles and pulled me off balance, and my blade flew out of my hand, spinning out of the hole in the arch and down toward the Mississippi River. I managed to get to my feet, but I knew I had lost. I was weaponless. I could feel deadly poison racing up to my chest. I remembered Chiron saying that Anaklusmos would always return to me, but there was no pen in my pocket. Maybe it had fallen too far away. Maybe it only returned when it was in pen form. I didn't know, and I wasn't going to live long enough to figure it out. I backed into the hole in the wall. The chimera advanced, growling, smoke curling from its lips. The snake lady Echidna cackled.
They don't make heroes like they used to, eh, son?
The monster growled. It seemed in no hurry to finish me off, now that I was beaten. I glanced at the park ranger and the family. The little boy was hiding behind his father's legs. I had to protect these people. I couldn't just die. I tried to think, but my whole body was on fire. My head felt dizzy. I had no sword. I was facing a massive, fire-breathing monster and its mother. And I was scared. There was no place else to go, so I stepped to the edge of the hole. Far, far below, the river glittered. If I died, would the monsters go away? Would they leave the humans alone?
If you are the son of Poseidon, Echidna hissed, you would not fear water. Jump, Percy Jackson. Show me that water will not harm you. Jump and retrieve your sword. Prove your bloodline.
Yeah, right, I thought. I'd read somewhere that jumping into water from a couple stories up was like jumping onto solid asphalt. From here, I'd splatter on impact. The Chimera's mouth glowed red, heating up for another blast. You have no faith, Echidna told me. You'd better not trust the gods. I cannot blame you, little coward. Better you die now. The gods are faithless. The poison is in your heart. She was right. I was dying. I could feel my breath slowing down. Nobody could save me. Not even the gods. I backed up and looked down at the water. I remembered the warm glow of my father's smile when I was a baby. He must have seen me. He must have visited me when I was in my cradle. I remembered the swirling green trident that had appeared above my head the night of the capture of the flag, when Poseidon had claimed me as his son. But this wasn't the sea. This was the Mississippi, dead center of the USA. There was no sea god here. Die, faithless one, Echidna rasped, and the Chimera sent a column of flame toward my face. Father, help me, I prayed. I turned and jumped, my clothes on fire, poison coursing through my veins. I plummeted toward the river. The boy's gonna die. My word. Good gravy, guys. That was intense. Whew. I think I need more banana. It's too intense. Only banana can calm my nerves. Not as cold now. Not nearly as good. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little warmer, but it's like, I don't know. It's not cold, but it's not chill. It's a little Luke, I'd say. Eat the peel? Scrumptious. You've eaten it before? Did you eat the whole thing? Or just a nibble, like I? I've kind of decided maybe I think I enjoy doing sillier voices for the villains. I may choose a select few to try to be more serious with, but for like these, you know, kind of thrown in villains, I kind of want to just do silly voices for them. I hope that does not diminish from the entertainment, but I certainly enjoy it a little more. Yeah, that's the classic. You just pull out the banana. and chomp it up. I mean, it's something only a real man would do, I'm pretty sure. Or a real woman, a real human being. That is only a human thing to do. I feel everyone in their life must, at some point, take a chomp out of a banana without peeling it. I know, it's unheard of. But Coleman has done it before. You will too one day. Maybe even I will. I'm trying to remember if I've ever done that. I don't think I have. But regardless, that was a good chapter. It gave me superpowers? It gave me superpower. No doubt, man. I believe it. It gave you a booty, that's for sure. Wink. Wonk. Too Trudy. There you go. Either one works. Man, I really did enjoy that chapter though. I don't know, it wasn't too terribly long, and it had quite the ender there. I really like that. Well, I mean, I feel as though most of us know what is to come, right? He's gonna fall in the water. You're gonna be like, whoa, it didn't splatter me. What? Then it'll probably be healed, but that's just my best guess. But I mean, but to end on that note is incredible to me, at least. Oh, what? Nightbot, stop this at once. Did it delete all your messages? Nightbot. I'm about to switch to a different bot tomorrow. Oh yo, Candle Claudia, Candle Claudia, welcome. How you doing? I pray your night is going swimmingly. I, for one, am doing quite well. I have a banana that I'm about to finish off, I think. Can I do it? How? I can. Bananas are good. I need it so I won't be sore as all get out tomorrow. My stream started much later than normal tonight because I think I died today. I put it in my Discord, but I had one of those workouts where by the end of it, it took me like an hour to feel as though I actually caught my breath again. And then I showered, but when I got out of the shower, I was still so tired that I put my pants on backwards and didn't realize it until I was done with my hair gel. I don't know if I've ever done that before, but that was definitely something that I did today. Absolutely, man. It was good. I did it outside too today, which was nice. It do be like that sometimes. Let's see, is that Claudia or is that Victor? I have a feeling I know that it is one of you guys. Or both. Is it both? I would love to know. Also, welcome Keaton. Did you just get here or have you been listening in? Hey, nice. I'm glad you caught the stream. Have you been here for a little while or did you just join? Nice. I'm glad you got to catch some of the main event. This is just kind of the in-between part where I talk about either just stuff from the day or chat with you guys or I talk about the chapter that we just read. Most of the time it's about the chapter. But nice, that's good. Oh, what? You missed your favorite chapter? This is not it's not okay, dude. I'm sorry. Was the last one your favorite? Did you at least catch some of it? Yeah, chapter 13. I plunge to my death is what it's called. See, I just want to make sure. Yeah, the chapter is actually called I plunge to my death. Man, this guy knows how to title chapters. The scorpion tail end of it. Or rather the snake tail, if we're talking in chimera terms. Wink. Oh man, the scorpion tail though. I mean, I could read it through again. It's not too long of a chapter. Would you guys want that? I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm sorry. I don't know how awful those slurping sounds are, but it is bringing me enjoyment. Right on. Good. And man, if you actually do that, that would mean a lot to me, man. It's honestly, it's been incredible to know that a few of you guys have been like following since at least like towards the beginning and are joining me on this Personius adventure. Oh, also, I'm pretty excited. I have a new mic coming in by Friday, I think, and it actually has one of those like arm dealios, so it's actually gonna come up and be just like here-ish in the frame. I don't know how much that'll change though, because I still read from the actual book, so I'm normally just like looking down the whole time that I'm reading. I wish it helps when I'm doing the Friday and Saturday streams, because I read them from PDFs on the computer screen, so I can at least look towards the camera. Nice. Well, how we feeling? Do we want to do a second chapter tonight? I'm feeling energized, and I'm definitely up for it if we want. Snoopy, my man. You good? You hanging in there? All right. Fist bump. He never gives me fist bumps. Yeah. Dude, I know. He's not even listening. This guy. Well, okay. I'm down to do another. You guys cool with a little break? I'll DJ a little music for it. I know in the past I've just kind of put on like a lo-fi playlist, but this time I want to try putting on some songs that I know of that I enjoy. Instead of just like one of those lo-fi radio dealios. Yeah, but let's do a little break, and then I will be back with the next chapter. I'll give you a little taste. It is called I Become a Known Fugitive. Exciting. Very exciting. All right, are you guys down with that? I pray you guys might be here once I'm back. The little breaks take no more than about 5 minutes tops. Play some music. You guys can relax. I urge you guys to stand up, stretch a little, maybe walk down the hall or something. Get a breath of the night air, something along those lines. It's good for you. I do it. It's good for me. Go ahead and get yourselves a drink-a-do, or a snack-a-do as well. And I'll be back with you soon, my wildflowers. Soon. Don't know why my soon came out as soon. But it did. Right on. Okay, sweetness. Time to gamble. What can you? I know I've set like a few like rewards on it, but I don't know if they're actually working. I'm excited to develop emotes, but I think I'm not able to do that until I have affiliate, which means I need 50 followers and a steady up to 3 viewer average on my streams. Thankfully, I'm doing quite well on that front, and that is thanks to you guys. Mwah. 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 That is my love going towards you right now. Good stuff. How do you gamble them? I'm actually confused by this. I know that little about Twitch. At least being in chat and whatnot. I only recently started actually attending certain streams. I follow Small Ant and Simple Flips primarily. Occasionally I'll jump into Vinny's stream or Grapefruit, but those are the ones that I recommend and often go to. Well, okay. Again, quick note. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Go get snacks. Go get drinks. Stand up, stretch, and we'll be back very soon. Flips is new to me, but there's like 2 games you can gamble with. Nice! That's good. I encourage everybody to use their flips unwisely. Spend them all. Do as you wish. They are but fleeting flips, and may be used at your leisure. Alright guys, much love, and I will be back in no more than 5 minutes. So it's 9:38 where I'm at now, so I will be back in 5 minutes. That means math. 9:43. I'll be back by 9:43. Alright, see you guys very soon. See ya.
Upset that I cannot fall in love, but I guess this avoids the stress of falling out of it. Are you tired of me yet? I'm a little sick right now, but I swear when I'm ready I will fly us out of it.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to be in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, hitting the licks in the van. Legacies, family, wait and see, look like a panda. Going out like a Montana.
I find myself stressing about what could be. Constantly in fear of what could happen to me. Never-ending chances for misfortune. Will good and bad always be disproportioned? Much more can happen, my life's just begun. Maybe it's my fault, didn't think of that one. But there's no sense in worrying about tomorrow. Life sucks sometimes, I hate myself although. This is real and that's okay. Yeah, this is real and that's okay. 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 Yeah, this is real and that's okay. This is real and that's okay. This is real and that's okay. This will surely pass, I'm sick of waiting. My quality of life is slowly fading. Insecurities I'm trying to outrun. Things were getting worse till I met someone. Maybe now's the time to be a trooper. There is so much good coming in the future, so there's no sense in worrying about tomorrow. My friends will help me love myself although. This is real and that's okay. Yeah, this is real and that's okay. 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 Yeah, this is real and that's okay. This is real and that's okay.
Alright, I am here. Welcome back. Hope your break was as pleasant as mine. I got up, I hit the restroom, came back, stretched, did a handstand, and then swiveled into here. And swiveled into your hearts, I hope. Yeah, we're back in action, and I'm ready for this next chapter to find out why Percy Jackson has become a known fugitive. I have an idea of why, but not entirely sure until I read. So, join me on this adventure, and let us read together. Thank you all for joining. This is Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief, by Rick Riordan. Chapter 14, I Become a Known Fugitive. I'd love to tell you I had some deep revelation on my way down, that I came to terms with my own mortality, laughed in the face of death, etc. The truth, my only thought was, "Ah!" The river raced towards me at the speed of a truck. Wind ripped the breath from my lungs. Steeples and skyscrapers and bridges tumbled in and out of my vision. And then, flap-boom! A whiteout of bubbles. I sank through the murk, sure that I was about to end up embedded in 100 feet of mud and lost forever. But my impact with the water hadn't hurt. I was falling slowly now, bubbles trickling up through my fingers. I settled on the river bottom soundlessly. A catfish the size of my stepfather lurched away into the gloom. Clouds of silt and disgusting garbage, beer bottles, old shoes, plastic bags, swirled up all around me. At that point, I realized a few things. First, I had not been flattened into a pancake. I had not been barbecued. I couldn't even feel the Chimera's poison boiling in my veins anymore. I was alive, which was good. Second realization, I wasn't wet. I mean, I could feel the coolness of the water. I could see where the fire on my clothes had been quenched. But when I touched my own shirt, it felt perfectly dry. I looked at the garbage floating by and snatched the old cigarette lighter. No way, I thought. I flicked the lighter. It sparked. A tiny flame appeared, right there at the bottom of the Mississippi. I grabbed a soggy hamburger wrapper out of the current, and immediately the paper turned dry. I lit it with no problem. As soon as I let it go, the flame sputtered out. The wrapper turned back into a slimy rag. Weird. But the strangest thought occurred to me only last. I was breathing. I was underwater, and I was breathing normally. I stood up, thigh deep in mud. My legs felt shaky. My hands trembled. I should have been dead. The fact that I wasn't seemed like, well, a miracle. I imagined a woman's voice. A voice that sounded a bit like my mother's. Percy? What do you say? Percy, what do you say? Thanks. Underwater, I sounded like I did on recordings. Like a much older kid. Thank you, Father. No response. Just the dark drift of garbage downriver. The enormous catfish gliding by. The flash of sunset on the water's surface far above. Turning everything the color of butterscotch. Why had Poseidon saved me? The more I thought about it, the more ashamed I felt. So I'd gotten lucky a few times before. Against a thing like the Chimera, I had never stood a chance. Those poor people in the arch were probably toast. I couldn't protect them. I was no hero. Maybe I should just stay down here with the catfish. Join the bottom feeders. Foomp, foomp, foomp. A riverboat's paddle wheel churned above me, swirling the silt around. There, not 5 feet in front of me, was my sword. Its gleaming bronze hilt sticking up in the mud. I heard that woman's voice again. Percy, take the sword. Your father believes in you. This time, I knew the voice wasn't in my head. I wasn't imagining it. Her words seemed to come from everywhere, rippling through the water like dolphin sonar. Where are you? I called aloud. Then through the gloom, I saw her. A woman the color of water. A ghost in the current, floating just above my sword. She had long billowing hair, and her eyes, barely visible, were green like mine. A lump formed in my throat. I said, Mom? No, child, only a messenger, though your mother's fate is not as hopeless as you believe. Go to the beach in Santa Monica. What? It is your father's will. Before you descend into the underworld, you must go to Santa Monica. Please, Percy, I cannot stay long. The river here is too foul for my presence. But I was sure this woman was my mother, or a vision of her anyway. How did you... There was so much I wanted to ask. The words jammed up in my throat. I cannot stay, brave one, the woman said. She reached out, and I felt the current brush my face like a caress. You must go to Santa Monica. And Percy, do not trust the gifts. Her voice faded. Gifts? I asked. What gifts? Wait! She made one more attempt to speak, but the sound was gone. Her image melted away. If it was my mother, I had lost her again. I felt like drowning myself. The only problem, I was immune to drowning. "Your father believes in you," she had said. She'd also called me brave. Unless she was talking to the catfish. I waded toward Riptide and grabbed it by the hilt. The Chimera might still be up there with its snaky, fat mother waiting to finish me off. At the very least, the mortal police would be arriving, trying to figure out who had blown a hole in the arch. If they found me, they'd have some questions. I capped my sword, stuck the ballpoint pen in my pocket. "Thank you, Father," I said again to the dark water. Then I kicked up through the muck and swam for the surface. I came ashore next to a floating McDonald's. A block away, every emergency vehicle in St. Louis was surrounding the arch. Police helicopters circled overhead. The crowd of onlookers reminded me of Times Square on New Year's Eve. A little girl said, "Mama, the boy walked out of the river." "That's nice, dear," her mother said, craning her neck to watch the ambulances. "But he's dry." "That's nice, dear." A news lady was talking for the camera. "Probably not a terrorist attack, we're told, but it's still very early in the investigation. The damage, as you can see, is very serious. We're trying to get to some of the survivors to question them about eyewitness reports of someone falling from the arch." Survivors. I felt a surge of relief. Maybe the park ranger and the family made it out safely. I hoped Annabeth and Grover were okay. I tried to push through the crowd to see what was going on inside the police line. "An adolescent boy," another reporter was saying. "Channel 5 has learned that surveillance cameras show an adolescent boy going wild on the observation deck, somehow setting off a freak explosion. Hard to believe, John, but that's what we're hearing. Again, no confirmed fatalities." I backed away, trying to keep my head down. I had to go a long way around the police perimeter. Uniformed officers and news reporters were everywhere. I'd almost lost hope of ever finding Annabeth and Grover when a familiar voice bleated, "Percy!" I turned and got tackled by Grover's bear hug. Or goat hug. He said, "We thought you'd gone to Hades the hard way." Annabeth stood behind him, trying to look angry, but even she seemed relieved to see me. "We can't leave you alone for 5 minutes. What happened?" I sort of fell. Percy, 630 feet? Behind us, a cop shouted, "Gangway!" The crowd parted, and a couple of paramedics hustled out, rolling a woman on a stretcher. I recognized her immediately as the mother of the little boy who'd been on the observation deck. She was saying, "And then this huge dog, this huge fire-breathing chihuahua." "Okay, ma'am," the paramedic said. "Just calm down. Your family is fine. The medication is starting to kick in." "I'm not crazy. This boy jumped out of the hole and the monster disappeared." Then she saw me. "There he is! That's the boy!" I turned quickly and pulled Annabeth and Grover after me. We disappeared into the crowd. "What's going on?" Annabeth demanded. "Was she talking about the chihuahua on the elevator?" I told them the whole story of the Chimera, Echidna, my high dive act, and the underwater lady's message. Pardon me. Seltzer water. "Whoa," Grover said. "We've got to get you to Santa Monica. You can't ignore a summons from your dad." Before Annabeth could respond, we passed another reporter doing a news break, and I almost froze in my tracks when he said, Percy Jackson. That's right, Dan. Channel 12 has learned that the boy who may have caused this explosion fits the description of a young man wanted by authorities for a serious New Jersey bus accident 3 days ago. And the boy is believed to be traveling west. For our viewers at home, here is a photo of Percy Jackson. We ducked around the news van and slipped into an alley. First things first, I told Grover. We've got to get out of this town. Somehow, we made it back to the Amtrak station without getting spotted. We got on board the train just before it pulled out for Denver. The train trundled west as darkness fell, police lights still pulsing against the St. Louis skyline behind us. Percy's on the news. He's famous. That's wild. Nice. That was a short, sweet little chapter. I liked that. Man. To fall that far and not die. That's incredible. He'd probably make the best Olympic diver ever, right? I mean, it would be considered cheating, right? It would be considered cheating. I would consider it cheating. I mean, heck, he could be just a swimmer in the racers. It's over. Good night, every other competitor. Yeah, that was a good one. Do you think the Chimera lady is gonna return? Rolled it up. No doubt about it. Or like ambrosia'd up. Am I right? Whoo! Because you know the nectar of the gods and all that. I remember his fight the most after reading it in middle school. Yeah, man, me too. You mean this fight in particular? The one with the Chimera and the Echidna? Yeah, the Echidna. Yeah, with the Chimera. Yeah, man. I mean this book I think has a lot of moments like that for me. And it's coming back to me as I read it, certainly. I find that after each chapter, I'm remembering, of course, like when I had originally come across it when I was younger. And man, I do remember this one definitely left an impact, or rather left me wanting an impact, right? Because he impacted the water, but there's no splat. Sorry, I'm. Oh man, my jokes. Yeah. I really. That was something else. Because I'm sure Keaton, you did the same. Where when you read it at 12, I mean, when I read it at 12, I put myself in his shoes, thinking, heck, what if I had superpowers and was the son of a god? That'd be crazy. I could fall out of what was it, 100 some odd feet story bridge into a river and be A-okay. That'd be pretty sweet. I do like, I think it's cool how he slowly recognizes throughout the story just how powerful he is. And land safely, yes. Me too. Sorry, just out of context. Out of context, that sounds really bad. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Whether it was superheroes, I especially did it with the Last Airbender, for sure. That and X-Men Evolution, I think was the series. You guys remember that one? Yeah, I definitely do too, man. I still do it. You were gonna say X-Men Evolution or The Last Airbender? The Atla. Oh. Is Atla an acronym? Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yes. Yeah, man. I think I was fixated most on the idea of becoming a mutant because it seemed the most plausible for me, right? I had this sense that, oh wait, that could actually happen, right? Like at some point my cells, maybe I was the one that got the evolutionary chain. I'm the first one of my kind. I'll be an X-Men. I'll be, yeah, and I have a distinct memory as well where I was homeschooled from around let's say 3rd to 4th grade, and then went to normal school for 5th, then homeschool again 6th to 8th. But when I was in 3rd grade, we had a co-op, so I would go to a place each Wednesday and like do classes, and then they'd give me all my work for the week. But we had recess that day, and I went out, and there was a little like cubby in like, because we met in a church in the church that we were at, where there was a big pile of leaves just kind of spread out and all about. And me and my friend, we ran in there, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the wind picked up and it started making spirals of leaves that kind of spur around us, and literally like all around us. It was one of those moments where I was like, am I doing this? Is this me? And I started to get the idea, and it stuck with me for at least a month, I'm pretty sure, where I was convinced that day had been the reckoning day, and that I had acquired the ability to control wind. Yeah, man. And so for a while I would try to see how far my power could go. And I knew, I was like, oh, it's just a budding power. I don't understand it fully yet. So I gave myself like a lot of grace. And I would put a ball like in front of me. I'd go, I would tense up super hard. And I'd concentrate on it. And then it would move like an inch or something towards me because of like, I don't know, wind or or whatever else, gravity. And I'd be like, yes, it's true, I told you. I think it got worse, like the worst though, when I started to believe that I could speak to the wind, like I was some kind of sage, or nature guru. I was like, I know the wind now. I will know when the rains will come. Yep. Big time. I feel yeah, did your realization come quicker than mine? Probably. I would not let it go for at least a little while. But I feel a lot of kids had those moments, right? Where held out hope for a while. I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. I feel like most kids go through that time where we just want to be more than we are. That's just, I don't know, that's just some real stuff. Because it goes deeper, right, than just being like, oh, I want superpowers, that'd be super cool. It goes a little deeper because we just want to be special. We want to be the one, the chosen. And the truth of the matter is, yeah, I don't know if there is such a thing. But regardless, if I stumbled upon superpowers one day going forward, I would consider myself blessed. And that would be super cool. Man, how did we get on the topic of super... Well, Percy Jackson is a superhero. Yeah. And I was saying, I really do dig, how he learns how powerful he is as the story unfolds. And it one-ups each time, too, I'm pretty sure. Like, the stuff that he does at each leg of the journey slowly gets more and more ridiculous. I'm trying, but I struggle to remember the rest of the series. I struggle to remember the big moments. I feel as though it's going to be one of those things where I'll come across it in the book and I'll read it and then it'll be like, oh, duh, I remember that. But as of now, I have no idea. I really forget what is to come, aside from just very vague memories. I believe I remember one thing from the Sea of Monsters, but that's only because it aligns with one of the stories from Homer, I think, with a certain Cyclops, mayhaps. No spoilers, though. Nice. Well, does anybody have any final thoughts on the chapter? I'm glad we wound up getting 2 in. That was cool. Thankfully, I think they're... No! It's okay, Coleman. I'll Men in Black picture flash you later. You're welcome. You can thank me never, because you won't remember. Yeah, but anybody got any final thoughts before we shut her down for the night? Oh, nice. That'll do, Coleman. You are most welcome. Yeah, we're winding down. We've read our 2 chapters, and they were good ones. I feel satisfied. I don't know about you guys. Also, I'm gonna be real with you guys for a second before we sign off here. I mean, I've been real with you guys this whole time, but this is something that I wanted to bring up. Occasionally, I feel that I go into a mode where I take this super seriously, maybe more seriously than is good. You know, it's a book for young teens, right? It's meant to be playful and fun. I do like getting serious for those moments that I do feel it's right for it. You know, it warrants that serious tone. But I want to take this in general seriously. You know, the Twitch deal. I read in a book once that if I treat something like a hobby, it won't succeed. It won't wind up making me a living. So I just wonder if you guys feel that I could stand to tone down the seriousness a little bit, because I do feel that I go a little hard in the paint sometimes when it comes to stuff that I want to impress people with and take seriously, such as this. So yeah, that's my question to you guys. I felt tonight I tried to take it a little less seriously. So if you've seen a previous stream and know what this one was like, nice. Okay, cool. Nice, good stuff. I was let known that idea or I was given that criticism by a trusted friend. So I also wanted to consult you guys as well to get an idea. I also disagreed with his standpoint. I felt that taking something seriously and having that be evident to my audience was not a bad thing. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. I do try to bring energy and love and cool vibes. Nice, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, heck, I've been goofing and gagging throughout, goofing and gagging this whole time. Good. Right on. Well, thank you for the support, guys, and confirming my my thoughts on the matter. Again, a few of the critiques, I took all of his critiques to heart and wanted to consider them fully before I move on and continue. So thank you for giving me some honest truth, some good feedback. Heck yeah. What do you guys, what was your favorite part from the stream? I think mine was the moment that Percy jumped. I really dug that, those lines. I often worry about the finishing of a chapter, right? I'm like, oh, it's all led up to this. I gotta hit the marker. Super good. And I felt I finished the first chapter of the bunch quite well. I was proud of that. I think that was my favorite part of tonight. I've also enjoyed these little in-between sessions. I really love talking to you guys, and it brings me a lot of joy. Yeah. I don't know if you guys had some favorite moments. I also liked my echidna voice. I don't know if I ever thought I'd be saying that phrase. I enjoyed my echidna voice. I love my echidna voice, I just really want to say that out of context at some point to like a fellow employee at where I work or something. Just, hey, I realized the other day I came to this conclusion. I really love my echidna voice, Oh, that'd be good. I like that. But I don't know, I'm not seeing anybody. Yeah, man, me too. I figured that might be a favorite of the night. The moment he jumps is impactful. I mean, I think it comes from that seriousness that comes from a man or boy feeling, or human feeling as though they're about to die. That those, if one truly believes these are my last moments on this plane of existence, I feel like it gives the lines that come from that scenario so much more weight. And I love that. I really dig that. Oh, dude, Claudia, you took the words right out of my mouth. Guys, if you take anything away from tonight, take this away. The most important step in self-love is learning to love your echidna voice. Dang it. I couldn't keep the straight face for the whole thing. I'm sorry, Claudia. Of all the fuzzy memories of the books, that's a moment that stands out. Nice. That's honestly really cool, man. I don't know. I don't know if I have that from many books. Yeah. I mean, I have vague memories of books, but I feel as though my brain does this thing where if something becomes not helpful to me anymore, like memories and stuff like that, it just gets like tossed in a box and shoved away deep inside my memory hole, and I feel like that sounds bad, but I feel like my brain does this and most brains do this in order to declutter and allow for more focus, Yeah. But I'm grateful that I'm getting to go through this book again with you guys, because it's bringing back those memories from my childhood. and I'm really happy to hear that it's doing a similar thing for some of you guys. That's really cool, actually. I hope that's something. I think that's a good goal and focus for this stream, right? Is to bring back those. Well, introduce new literature. If that's like goal number 1, to both introduce new literature to both me and others. Goal number 2 is to practice my voice acting, and then goal number 3, which I hadn't thought about before tonight, is for books that I've read in the past, and for books that you guys have read in the past, it will most likely bring up memories of when we first came across these books, which I think it's a really cool thing. Thanks, Keaton. Dude, I genuinely hadn't thought about that before tonight. But that's some really cool stuff. And I know I say that in a shitty voice, but I really do mean that. Heck yeah. Okay, well, it's getting to be about that time. I feel as though I've probably rambled for plenty of time now. So don't worry. You won't miss me for too long. I won't miss you guys for too long, because we'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock for chapter 15. Chapter 15. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Nice. Alright. Sweet. I love you guys bunches. You are my wildflowers in the merry meadow, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you, petals and all. Whether they're withered or not, I'm grateful for them. Wink. Wink wonk. Alright. And Claudia, thanks for joining us tonight. If you enjoyed, I would be more than happy to have you again. Just so you know, the streams, if you're not wanting to follow the series and be here, most nights, on Fridays and Saturdays, I do a late night stream from about 9 to 12-ish. Fridays and Saturdays for short stories. Read about 3 or 4 per stream, and it's a good time. I've really enjoyed. I just introduced that this past weekend, and it went quite well, I think. So I'm excited to do it again for this upcoming weekend. All right, cool beans. Let's call it there. Good night, everybody. Much love. Remember to stretch, and get out and be active. And I have much love for y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and play my little outro theme. Load it up here, get it going, so that I can fade out to a sweet tune. This is a reprise of the intro theme that I called Unfold. I pray you enjoy. I pray you sleep tight, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Night, guys.